as a content creator, it can be really tricky to find music that you're able to use in the background of your YouTube videos, like the music you're hearing right now. Ooh, we've got some music in the background. YouTube videos or podcast platforms or social media posts, anything where you feel like music would heighten the mood. It can be tricky to find music that A, doesn't cost you a heap, because getting individual licenses for songs can be quite costly, or it doesn't have the necessary license that will actually allow you to use it on the platforms that you want to use. It used to be really, really hard. And we also want to make sure that the musicians, like me, are being paid properly for the music that is being used. And so it's really important that you use music that has been cleared. There are a couple of ways to do that these days. It used to be a lot harder. Now we have music sound libraries that you can use, that you can subscribe to for a monthly fee, and it actually gives you access to the back-end catalog of a heap of music. And these are real artists. These are people that make music specifically for these music libraries and for other things. In fact, that is something that I do here at Bamby Media as well, doing sync licensing and music for film and TV. So that's kind of cool to be on both sides of this coin. I'm a musician myself, write for that purpose, but also use these sound libraries for our client work and for our own work here on our YouTube channel and for our podcast. For our podcast, though, I actually have used one of my own original songs as the theme for the podcast, which is kind of cool to be able to do. But for everything else that you hear, we do use sound libraries to achieve those. There are quite a few sound libraries to choose from these days: Artlist, MusicBed, Soundstripe, Epidemic Sound. Hopefully you've heard of some of these. The one I'm going to talk about today is Audiosocket. Audiosocket reached out to me a couple of months back now, wondering if I would be willing to review their music library just to see whether it was something that, I could see myself potentially using, and also be able to offer you guys as well if I think it's a good idea. My team and I have been using this platform for a couple of months now. I really like to use it for a while to get a feel for whether it's good or not. And so today you're going to get a really good representation as to what is good about the platform, what is not so good, what are the things they're working on. I do have a discount code for you if you end up thinking you might want to use it. It is a 10% off code. That'll be in the description below, so hopefully that helps you. And we're also an affiliate of theirs. I just think it's a good platform to use. Here's the review. Here we are in Audiosocket. So you can see they've got music and they've got sound effects. Okay, if we go to music. So this is the back end of Audiosocket. You can see you can search for a keyword or a YouTube link or a Spotify link, or you can do a search via genre, mood, themes, duration, instruments, settings, like all sorts of things. A lot of the time what I'm looking for is no vocals, and you can see they have 55,409 tracks with no vocals. So I would want to narrow that down further, because there's no way in hell I'm searching through 55,000 tracks. I can do a search based on genre, and for me, I personally like to work with stuff that's maybe a bit jazzy, maybe there's some pop in there, there might be some like cinematic or ambient, like it just depends on what the thing is that I'm putting the music behind, but that gives me a really good, clear idea. And then I also really like to work with moods, especially if I'm kind of trying to find stuff for like a theme music for a client or something like that, then I will use that. The other thing that's really handy is having a duration. So if I have like a mid-roll that I'm working on for an ad placement, right, I want to make sure that the duration is between a certain length. Like I want it to be maybe 2 minutes, between 2 minutes and 1 minute 35 or something, so that I don't have like a bunch of extra music that I'm trying to play with, or I don't have too little music that I'm trying to play with. And this just helps it narrow down. It makes it quicker when you're actually importing that and using it in your session. You don't have a whole bunch of extra music in there that you then have to tighten or cut or whatever. It's cool if you can try and find a track that has it sort of there ready to go. And then we've got instruments. So there's a few different ways you can work with it. And then when you sort of click on any of these, like I'll just put my headphones on, click on any of these, you can just play it. Yeah. So you can see that there's a whole bunch of this. And you can just go through, and they've actually have alternate versions of things as well, which some of the other platforms don't have. Like this is an instrumental 30 seconds only. This is just drum effects. This is just a 15-second kind of stem. This is, all of these different things. And a lot of the other providers don't have that kind of individual stuff, which is actually really cool that they've got that. So I really like that. You can also then do a similar search. Like if you go, okay, cool, I really like this, but I want it to sound like this, but not this. And so you can do a search for that. You can also just download it, and you can download it MP3 or WAV, which is really, really good. You can add it to a playlist if you're working on something. Maybe you're a music supervisor and you're looking for something that kind of will work with that, and you want to put a playlist of things together, and then you want to trial all those songs with the thing that you're working on. So a playlist can be really handy. You can add it to your favorites if you want to make sure that you remember it and that you go back to it and it's something that you might use in the future again. You can also share the track. So if you copy that track and then you just paste it to someone else, and I'm already logged in, so I would have to go, okay, like log out so that it can be shared with me. Then you can see, hey, this is the track. Here it is. Here's the track ID. Here's the info, and it shares it. It tells you that it's in C minor. It gives you a fair bit of information, which is really quite awesome. So we can do that. The other thing you can see, if I'm not logged in and then I go license track, it then wants me to actually sign in and be able to license it that way. So there's some different pricing options, and it's really important that you actually get the right pricing based on how you're going to use the songs. And so you've got a personal one, which is for you if you're creating and publishing videos or podcasts on your personal web channel. So it's a single user account. You can use it for podcasting and web. You can't use it to promote a product, service, or brand. So you can't use it for background music for your ads. Like if you've got ads and you're working with brands, you can't use it there. You can't use it for other clients. So if you're a podcast production company like us, and then you're wanting to use that music in all of the stuff that you're creating for other clients, you can't do it with a license like this. You can't do it for digital ads. You can't do it for games. There's different uses, different licensing plans, pricing based on what you would actually be using the track for. So just make sure that you're selecting the right thing when you're actually going to purchase. And you've got the commercial plan as well, which gives you more rights and more sort of publishing examples and things like that. This is a really good tool to use if you're, and I'll sign back in now. It's a really good tool to use. It makes it easy to find what you need, and you know that the content's already going to be cleared because you've already, Audiosocket has already done that hard work for you. The worst thing, I hate it when you put something on YouTube, let's say, like you can come into a few different problems here. Let's say you put something on YouTube and that song hasn't been cleared. That song doesn't have the proper license, or, it's not supposed to be on your video. It has not been cleared for that use. Then you get a copyright notification coming up on your YouTube saying, hey, you can't use this, like this snippet or this social media clip or this YouTube short or this video it won't be played because you have a copyright sort of infringement thing. You can definitely contest that if you absolutely know that you have the proper license for it. But Audiosocket makes it easy for this not to happen to you. If you go to the About section, you can see these are real people, okay? They've got a good mission. They are supporting musicians as well, which I really like. Now, there were a few bits of feedback that I had for Audiosocket and my team had for Audiosocket that we've already sent through to them. For example, it's a really white page, and I know that might not be a big deal for some people, but when you're working with video editing software all the time and you're always in dark mode, to then have this big white page at you, where it's like a lot of white, it's really hard on your eyes. If we use Artlist as the other example here, you can see the actual experience there on your eyes when you're sort of viewing everything is a lot nicer. So we have actually given that feedback to Audiosocket, which they have taken on board, and I'm sure they're working on it because that experience feels
better over here in Artlist than it does at Audiosocket right now. The other thing that we don't love is that when you download the tracks in Audiosocket, the front of the actual name of the track is Audiosocket blah. So if you have it in a really small kind of window, you actually don't know what the name of the track is unless you're kind of expanding it all the way out, right? It's got this big Audiosocket, then number, and then eventually the name of the track. Whereas some of the other software, the actual name of the track is at the front. That's just a little thing, but to me, it's just something that they could definitely fix moving forward. We didn't have a lot of other negative feedback on Audiosocket. They have things like curated playlists that they've actually put together so that you can find tracks more easily. Maybe you don't want to search through a giant amount of tracks. And you can see some of the featured placements that they've had through the Audiosocket tool as well. So it's all really good stuff. They're supporting artists. The pricing's pretty good too. You can see there we've got personal plans starting if you were going monthly at around $25 a month, and that includes sound effects, or $15 a month with no sound effects. If you're doing annually, you save a little bit of money there. So it depends on how much music you're actually going to be using, which is cool. Just check out the licensing documentation there too to make sure that you're covered for the tracks that you're wanting to use, as I mentioned before. The other thing I wanted to make you aware of is the fact that they just really do have a lot of songs. So in fact, just today, one of my staff members came to me and said, hey, for the other tool that we've been using, we're actually running out of good songs to choose from. Like, there's a lot of stuff on there, but we're running out of tracks. We use a lot of music in our production services here at Bamby Media, and they don't have anywhere near the number of tracks that Audiosocket has, which is really good, because the last thing you want is, like, especially if you're creating a lot of content, you want to have a lot of things to choose from, and you want that to be updated very frequently, because if you're starting to use all the same stuff, or you're using the same tools as everyone else and everyone's using the same music, it gets a bit bland. It gets a bit, what's new? There's nothing sort of going on that is making you different to somebody else. So you can see there, Audiosocket has 80,000 plus tracks. They beat Epidemic, they beat Artlist, and they certainly beat Soundstripe as well. Let's have more of a chat. So there you go. That's my review of Audiosocket. As I mentioned, if you want to try it, we do have a 10% discount code. It is in the description below. This is certainly for you if you use a lot of music, if you're creating a lot of videos, if you are doing a lot of sort of social media content and you feel like you need something to give it a little bit more pizzazz. I know that you can use tracks that you can find on Instagram, like if you're creating a reel and you can just find a track there. But it's not as good, I don't think, as finding a track that you can use a lot more of too, and then you actually just have something that not a lot of other people are using, because in this context, like with Audiosocket, for example, them having a just ginormous amount of back catalogue there of music that you can choose from, it makes you kind of just sit above the rest, above the pack that just uses the normal sort of platforms for it. So I think that's really good. Definitely go and check it out, and I hope you have enjoyed this review. I love giving these sorts of reviews. If you are a company that wants me to take a look at something and give you my honest feedback, I will always be very honest with you. So you can send some things through to our email. You can get in contact with us via the contact page on the Bamby Media website. Okay, have a good day. Bye.